Good job. Okay, great. Okay, so thank you for coming back. What I want to do today is give you some chance to talk about the video and the homework, which is to talk about how you might use some of the ideas that we've covered in class so far in your own teaching or presentations in your research in breakout rooms. And so I want to give you time to connect with one other person in the class, and I'm going to do it randomly as we've done before. I think those work out pretty well. So I'll put you in rooms with two, maybe a couple with three people, but and that way we'll give you some time. But I think about, what I'm thinking is about 20 minutes. Then what I want to do is come back and go into talk a little bit about the testing, homework, and grading, chapter 11 from the book, and then we'll talk a little bit about the teaching guide on grading and rubrics, and then we'll assign the homework for next week, which is going to be a 5-question. You're going to come up with homework assignment based on a class you're either GSIing in or an undergrad class that you've taken. So, because I want to just get some practice in how to think about assessment and specifically about homeworks, and then we'll also look a little bit at how to do this for grade, for exams or quizzes, just to give you some experience with that. Okay, good. So, any questions for me before we do that?
What are we talking about in the breakout room? I missed that.
Oh, okay, let me go over that again. So what we're going to do is talk about the video, the Robert Reich video, which is The Art of Teaching and the Practice of Leadership. If you haven't seen it, then you can skip that. But if you saw it, you can talk about some highlights there. And then I want you to talk about the homework, which was describe your own teaching research presentation experience with reference to the techniques we've talked about in class. That was the one-page homework that was due. And again, so I just want you to share a little bit about what you've gotten out of things so far, any insights, and share it with another partner. Sound good? Okay, good. And then also just get to know each other. I think also, the other thing is just check in, take a few minutes to introduce yourselves to each other, and just check in as human beings. I think we're all a little isolated, and some more than others, but I want you to feel that this is a chance to connect with grad students that you don't know. So hopefully, and by the way, if you are placed by randomness into a room where you're with somebody you already know really well, just pop back out and I can reassign. I'll move some people around. Okay, so I'm going to do the breakouts now. We have 25 here, so that's about 12 rooms. I have one more 13 rooms, just to, some people come a little late. 14 rooms. All right, and again, if you're alone or something goes wrong, just wait, hang out for a minute. I may be dropping someone else into your room, and if you're alone for too long, come back and we'll figure it out. Okay, got it? Everybody on board? All right, good. We're going out. We got 20 minutes and go.
My breakout room was empty.
I just put people in there. Michael Kelly, I'll put you back there. Hold on, let me see if I can do it.
Oh, I can join. I can join.
You can do it? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Mallory. Did you get?
Hi. Yeah, there was no one in mine.
All right, I'm gonna put you both back in room 8. You guys are just held tight because as I said,
Okay.
let's see what happened. How did that work? Seems like it disappeared. I'm gonna move you into room 13. Okay. Oh wait, I can't find you at all. Okay. Mallory, can you hear me? Mallory, I moved you into room 13. I think you have to accept somehow.
Oh, here we go.
Andy, you just joined us, right?
Yes, I'm sorry
So I'm
for
gonna
coming
put you in
late.
room. I'll put you in room 13. Odessa, just be. I'm teaching class, babe. So just.
Hello. So
Hello.
I just like had to restart my computer. Just can you assign me to a breakout room?
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay, Abdullah. Yeah, we lost you there.
Yeah, I had to restart my computer because it heated. I just got heated. My fan
Okay,
wasn't
no
working.
problem. No problem. I think people are coming back. Let's see. Abdullah and Tor, I'm gonna put you both in room 14, okay?
Okay.
And we're talking about the homework assignment.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And you have to accept to be moved. Hey, Julie and Josh.
Hello.
Hello. Hey.
Hello.
Did you guys left early?
Yeah, we were partnered and we kind of ran out of topics, so figured we'd jump back and see if there was other conversations going on here.
Oh, okay. I can put you in a different room. Do you want to try that? I can put you
Sure.
both in different. Okay.
Sure.
Let's do that. I'm going to put you in room. You can just jump in and because we only we still have 8 minutes left. So it might be interesting just to talk to some other people. I'll pop you over there. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Julie, I'm going to move you to room 5 and you just have to accept that and then you'll go over there. And Josh, how about room, actually there's a new room that's just starting 14. So I'll put you in there.
I haven't seen the invite come up, but
It should be there, Julie. It should come up.
okay, there it did. It just
Took a little time. You just got here?
Yeah, I just finished GSI.
Okay. So I'm going to put you in a room. What we're doing is just having a few minutes. You might just listen in because students are talking about the homework assignment and also the video. Okay?
Okay.
So you can just go in and listen. So I'm going to put you in room 1 and you have to accept the invitation. Vishal, hello. Are you just getting here? Or are you
Yeah,
waiting?
I'm a bit late today, sorry.
Okay, all right. It's a little difficult because we have to put you in a room. Okay, we only have 7 minutes left, but I'm gonna move you to room 13 and you can just listen in, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, sure. Okay, Stefano, what's going on?
Hey, I just finished talking with my breakout partner, Emma, who's just joining.
Okay. You guys, you have nothing else to talk about?
We talked at length about our experiences teaching, in particular as it relates to like teaching over Zoom, and how it's difficult without having like the direct feedback from students to know like whether you should spend more time on something or use a different teaching technique to like teach a concept, just things like that.
Oh, okay. Actually, tell me a little more about that. So you're both teaching, is that right?
Yeah.
Good, okay. Great, so you are actually some of the minority who's actually teaching a class this semester, okay. So tell me a little more. What is your experience on Zoom this semester? Now tell me, are you both GSI for a class? Which class is it and how big is the class?
You want to go for it, Emma?
Oh, sure, I can go first. Yeah, I'm a UGSI teaching CS 188. The class is huge, but my section is usually like 15-ish people.
Okay.
So I think one thing that I'm struggling right now is like time management because I what I like to do is to start the section with a conceptual review, like maybe takes 10-15 minutes. But then we have like worksheet problems and I never seem to be able to finish all the problems. And that makes some students, I think, kind of stressed because they think they don't know how to do the rest of the problems. But also during the like mini lecture at the start of the section, people are actively asking questions. So I definitely know people, like also in the feedback form, some people do really like the conceptual review, and then half of the other people wants more problem solving. So it's like people wanting different things, but we only have this limited time, and it's hard to gauge when, like if I'm going too fast or slow, or like just it's, yeah. And it's also frustrating because every time I prep for the whole worksheet and I do like prepare for all the worksheet problems, I never get to all of them. I was like, okay, then they don't get to know what I'm going to teach, and I don't get to teach it. So it's kind of.
Oh, this is a good, so this is really time management, right?
Yeah.
Which actually is a great topic, and we actually have a whole session devoted to that. I think it's a great issue because something we all struggle with. You know, I was just in a meeting that I felt could have lasted it could have been finished in 5 minutes, and it went on an hour plus, and it drives me crazy. You know, I'm very I'm very impatient, and I really, time is I'm very sensitive to people's time. You know, in your class, since you do all that preparation, I might suggest that it might make sense. Are you recording these sessions, by the way? Do you?
I don't, but we have a couple of TAs who would record their sessions. Like they would record the whole worksheet walkthrough. Yeah.
So what I would say is this: one way to get around this issue is that you could record, right, and then you could go a little faster, to make sure that you cover all the material that you have there, and then so that would get around the issue of the pacing. The other thing about the conceptual is you could then basically try to finish with 10 minutes to spare, and then do the conceptual at the end. Because I agree it's important, but in some sense, there's a lot of students who will want just that, you know, to make sure that they cover the worksheet, right?
But like I thought they have to have the conceptual to be able to start on the problem. Although I realized from our seminar that this is a learner style issue, because I always prefer to have the conceptual understanding first.
Right,
so
right.
I'm reluctant to directly teach.
Yeah. No, it's a classic situation, right? So there are some students who that's exactly right for, but I am worried that you're not able to, you know, you've prepared and you haven't been able to finish, and just getting all that material out there. So there's two ways. You could do it at the beginning, but just bracket it so it's fairly short, and you could just go faster. I think that it's not there's no harm in doing that, and then students can watch, you know, slow it down or speed it up as they wish. Now, of course, the other thing happens is that students will ask a lot of questions, you know, and that's tricky because you know, I really emphasize this point about being responsive to students' questions, right? It's really important. So one thing that we've been doing in my other class is I have a Google Doc for questions, and students can post there anytime. And then I go in every couple days and answer the questions. And that seems to be working pretty well, because it's one place students, because everybody's watching the lecture at different times, they don't hear when you know, they may not have a chance to ask during the lecture, but they want, you know, they're listening to a lecture in the middle of the night, you know, and they want to ask a question, they can go to the Google Doc, put it on there, right there, right? So it's a kind of asynchronous way of doing that. And also just collects all the answers in one place.
That sounds like
a
mini Piazza.
It's like a mini Piazza, exactly. And Piazza is a good way to do it, except, I mean, maybe it's actually better in your case, because then it's from all the sections. But in our case, we just have one big section. So it's makes sense. I just find that a little easier to use.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's very helpful.
Yeah, so try that. But Stefano, hi Malika.
My Wi-Fi cut out. I cut off right when we were going to start the breakout rooms.
Oh, no worries. Okay, well, people are going to come back in about 30 seconds. So we were just chatting a little bit about some of the issues that came up, and one of them Emma was bringing up was about time management and trying to essentially accommodate the many different learning styles that their students have. Good. Okay. Well, and it's also, you know, I think, Emma, that you have a language for it, right? that you acknowledge that there's these different learning styles, and some are like you and some aren't. Good. Stefano, what did you find that you've been that's of interest there in terms of
Yeah, I mean, I teach a lab class, so it's a whole different set of considerations. We pre-record the experiments and then show the students the videos of the experiments, and then just hand them the data sets. Right. So I mean, as Sam was saying, it's difficult to really gauge the feedback from the students about how they're doing, or whether a certain way that you're conveying the information is the best for them. Especially when you're talking to a bunch of like dark screens, or you can't see them, so you find yourself that you're just talking to your computer for most of the time, which I mean, I guess is just part of the hardships that we find ourselves in this situation. But I don't know if there's a way around it.
It's a great question. I mean, I think one thing I do like it when people open up their cameras and microphones. You find it makes it a lot more interactive. But one thing I'm also sensitive to is not everybody has good Wi-Fi, and so it can put students at a disadvantage, right? If you're requiring or really pushing them to put it on their cameras. Totally. So and there's also some privacy issues. We're actually technically not allowed to require students to keep the camera on.
No, yeah, I mean, when I first started teaching this section, I just said that if you feel comfortable to do this, that'd be great. If not, then we can continue as is. But I mean, it's not a perfect. I don't know that there is an answer for which like we can find the best balance, other than trial and error.
It's very tricky, and again, it's just style. I mean, one thing I find is when I don't know which is worse: students who doesn't have the camera off and you just see the the black screen there, a little cell, or the student who is has the camera on but is clearly not paying attention to the class, and that you pick up on that too, right? I don't know. I think it's probably better not to see, and just in your mind think they're listening raptly to whatever's going on. But okay, so welcome back everyone, and I want to first of all, let me just ask a quick meta question here. Was that too long? 20 minutes? Just jump in and unmute and tell me what you think. Was it too long, or was that okay to sort of connect with somebody else?
I thought that was fine.
It was fine. Okay.
Yeah. I think it was long. Oh, sorry. I think it was long for the activity, but we did get to socialize, which was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Do other people feel that way?
What's the intent? Is it to talk strictly about the assignment, or is it to just get to know one another also?
Both.
Okay.
It really is. Yeah. I think that's actually, I'm coming around, and this is actually something on a learning curve for me, but I've been hearing that students actually like to just connect with each other and shoot the breeze about whatever for a couple minutes. So so that socializing is really is part of the idea. And if 20 minutes isn't too much, I'm glad to hear that, because I think that's nice. You get to get into something a little more in depth one-on-one, and then if there's extra time, you can just shoot the breeze about favorite TV shows or the debate that's coming up tonight. Okay, but so let me just ask you though, what you did talk about. Any insights? I was just talking to Emma and Stefano. One thing that came up was about time management in our section, and we are going to have a session on that, just on time management itself. So we'll come back to it, which is a very big topic. And then Stefano was talking about just the challenge. That's where we came back to of teaching on Zoom. And so how about some of the others who have experience? Let's talk about Zoom for a few more minutes. What are your insights about that? Has it been, how do people feel? Has it been very challenging to live in the Zoom type of world, or are you kind of getting used to it? Anyone?
So I think that the main problem for me is trying to get into a schedule, because a lot of my classes offer like recordings of the class, and it kind of makes me think like, oh, you know, I don't really feel like learning right now, so I'll just kind of watch it later. So the Zoom thing kind of like throws off my scheduling instead of waking up, going to class and things like that. So in that respect, I do think it's a little bit of a negative for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think what's happening is some students are the same thing, is that they like that they can watch it later, but then next thing they know, they've accumulated, 10 hours of lectures that they haven't gotten around to yet, and then nobody wants to binge watch their lectures. So that's true, and the discipline of just saying I'm going to do it, I'll get to it, is tricky. Especially when the homework is due and you're trying to watch the video in time to do the homework, right? That's not optimal. Okay, but how about from the presentation side? How is that working out? I think you're all having to present. Go ahead, Sasha.
Yeah, I actually noticed that it's either a hit or a miss with my professors. Like I've noticed some professors definitely used to take or present their lectures like on a Blackboard. They write it out as they go. And then it seems like they haphazardly put together slides to the point where the slides are like quite disorganized and not something I can easily follow. Or it's like they try to transfer what they would have put on a Blackboard or a whiteboard onto the slides, and it's not a very smooth transition. And so when that happens, I think it does detract. But when there are professors who did like teach via PowerPoint, I feel like they're thriving more now.
Very interesting. Okay, good. Yeah, so I see if they already had experience teaching with PowerPoint, and now they can adapt that into this format pretty easily. But if they were doing Blackboard, it's fairly different. And getting used to doing that on the fly. I've been learning actually, because I have a Blackboard course, and it's been very interesting. I mean, I'm sharing my my iPad and then writing notes as I go, but there's a lot of things I'm learning about how to make that work better. It's non-trivial, and I like being able to erase things and use different colors and factors like that. But I also am aware that just factors like making students, I'm worried about people being car sick, because you're scrolling around, right? You're trying to track, and I would imagine that can be annoying. But I think for you guys, you're teaching in many cases. The GSI is a situation where you haven't taught it before, right? And now you're sort of preparing fresh for each one of these classes. So it's difficult to prepare PowerPoint, right, for each of these lectures. So how many of you are who are teaching are using some sort of handwritten notes in the class? Emma, you're teaching. You were saying you're teaching and going over homeworks. How do you do that?
Ideally, I would use iPad and Apple Pencil, but my iPad that I supposedly could loan from the EECS department still hasn't arrived. So I've just been using OneNote and the trackpad for some handwriting. I think it works okay-ish. Not for like a lot of writing, but for like drawing diagrams and a little bit of writing.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, OneNote is where you type, right?
Yeah, OneNote you can type, and there's also the draw feature, which is pretty good.
With the mouse, right?
Yeah, with the mouse, with the trackpad. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, with the trackpad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think a cheaper alternative is to get one of those boards, or like it's not an iPad, it's just the extension with you can draw on it. That one's probably more affordable.
Yeah. What's that called? I keep forgetting.
There's also. Sorry, I'm not sure what it's called, but I just wanted to add and say there's also like the Zoom Blackboard feature, like whiteboard feature, that is very underutilized. I'm realizing that many teachers would benefit a lot if they did use it.
But I think the key is you need a pen of some kind to be able to do that comfortably. And my penmanship is definitely not as good as the Blackboard for some reason. I don't know why, but it's because it's blown up, right? Because I'm writing small and then it gets big on the screen, and somehow it just doesn't seem as it seems worse than when I'm on a Blackboard. But you're right, Waco board or something like that it's called. But you can buy these for about $60 or something like that. These it just plugs into the USB port, and then it gives you a little pad that's like your trackpad, and it has a pen. So Wacom, I think it's called, WACOM. And somebody wants to look at their in Amazon or something. I believe they're selling for like $60. Oh, and Amazon is having a big sale coming up. You guys should know. Amazon Prime is coming up on next week, I think, October 13th. Anybody know?
Yeah, it's the 13th and the 14th. I've been seeing ads.
Same.
Okay, so maybe we should check out if a Wacom boards are coming available. That might be a good time.
I was gonna add something. Like, I took a course over the summer where the prof was actually using his iPad.
I think like wasn't that big of a deal. Put your shirt on.
Wait, who is that?
Mallory, I think that might be you.
Oh,
Mallory.
do you guys hear me? Do you hear me or?
My bad.
Okay.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, I got confused.
All right, this is Abdullah. Yeah, Abdullah, go ahead.
Over the summer, I took a course where the professor was actually using his iPhone through the camera, and he's like I think he has like a something handheld, something to hold the phone on top, like almost like a projector. Okay. And you can like have a piece of papers and you write with a pen. So your iPhone camera is like videotaping, recording through Zoom. If you go through the share screen, there's an advanced option. You can actually click on cameras. You choose which camera to project. So if you want to go the old school stuff you write with a pen on a paper, you can also do that.
Oh, okay. So I see he has a little camera looking down at his paper as he's writing.
Yeah, you can do that with your iPhone or any phone with that camera, but you just need to have a holder for the phone to just come from top.
I've actually done that before. I was an undergraduate tutor for multivariable calculus last semester for like athletes, and it was before I had an iPad. And so my creative solution was to stack a pile of books on my desk and like have good lighting on the side and have a piece of paper with the camera looking down at it. It actually worked out pretty well, but definitely not as good as like a iPad in hindsight.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. That's good to know. That's another option. Emma, you might keep that in mind. Here's the thing. I think the nice thing about the iPad is also that at the end you can actually share it with the students if you want it. Right? That makes it sort of nice. But I would encourage you guys, if you don't hesitate to approach the professor of the class and just say, hey, I'm a GSI in here. I would be much more effective if I could get a writing pad, a digital pad, and show them the price, $60 or whatever. I think most professors would probably just get you that, take care of that. Most professors have a little bit of money, especially in engineering. They have a little discretionary funds. That's the kind of thing that if anyone asked me to do that, I would do it in an instant. So don't be afraid. That's a really good investment. Or if they won't, talk to your advisor, because you can also make a case that it'll help your research. All right. You can say, this will help me, for example, annotate papers, research papers, or give feedback to colleagues.
I have a question.
Just be creative. Yes, who has a question?
In the breakout session earlier, one of my group members said he can't even get a hold of his professor, and there's like two professors, and one of them is a student, and then the one professor talks to the middle professor, and then they teach everybody else. And he's GSIing for this class, but he's having difficulty reaching.
Oh, that's interesting. So wait, who is it? Someone here in this class?
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Oh, Yuhan. All right. Can you share that? Just if you feel comfortable, would you? Is it a really big class that you're in?
No. It's an online lab class.
Okay, but how many students? I'm just wondering why the professor is so elusive.
We have like 37.
Okay, so it's fairly small. Actually, let's just look at this as a case study. If you don't mind, Yohang, I'm just want to, if you feel comfortable, if you don't, we can drop it. But I'm actually interested because I think this is an interesting case that GSIs do encounter where they can't act. The professor's really not that available. Is that so? What's the story? You surely meet with them periodically, no?
We periodically meet with the other instructor, and the other instructor will talk with the professor, but communication is based on the emails. So I don't think any one of us can meet with the professor.
Really? That's very interesting. Does the professor have office hours?
He has office hours, but I have never gone to his office hour. But
let me suggest that, because I will tell you one surprising fact is that people, a lot of times office hours are, there's nobody comes. I mean, it is surprising how many times I'll sit there for a whole hour and nobody shows up. So hold on one second. Let me just quiet my kids down here. Sorry. So you could drop in on the office hours. That's a really good way to get a direct opportunity. Try and do it toward the beginning, usually when so you make sure that they're still there. But just drop in and say, hey, I'm your GSI, and I need a trackpad. Again, one of the things is, if you think about it, students are paying a pretty, their parents, students are paying a lot of money to come to attend these classes. If you're handling, in this case, 30 students, think about what if you can improve that experience for them, that's $2 a student you're talking about. Okay.
So you're talking about a pad?
Yeah.
I'm fine with a pad. I think we all have pads in this case.
Oh, okay. All right. So
the issue was more generalized.
More general. Okay.
Just getting their attention, just getting time, not so much about getting funds.
Okay.
That was the issue I was bringing up.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. So actually, I think that's a great point, and I do feel like you can ask for it. One of the things, the instructor really has a responsibility to get back to you as a GSI and to students. If they're not being responsive, they're going to hear about it in the student evaluations. And so instructors usually learn that they can't ignore inquiries. And if you're a GSI, you absolutely have the right to talk to the instructor and clarify things and give them feedback. It's perfectly reasonable to say, listen, could I come to office hours and just touch base a little bit and discuss a little bit about the class and how it's going? I can't imagine any professor saying no to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, take the opportunity, and then hopefully, if you can get enough of a discussion, you can step back a little bit, say, ask them for some things about, how some advice, something. It's not your advisor, presumably, so you can just talk to them about, the teaching and get their thoughts on various things. They'll probably be very open to talking with you, I would think. So Yohang, try that, and don't give up. If you're really running into a problem, then if you really can't get a hold of this professor, then you can go to the department chair at some level.
Yeah, I'm fine most of the time, but sometimes there might be some. The professor and we GSIs sometimes are in a different place. For example, sometimes after we talk about something to the student, and the instructor posted the announcement and said he will talk about it later. So our assumption is he will not talk about it. After we talk about it, he talk about it. So it's basically a waste of our time.
Okay, well then that's a perfect case of explain that to him or her. All right. And you know, I just for everyone, I want you to be communicate with the instructor. The instructor is probably going to appreciate this. The reason this is just a misunderstanding, they're moving very fast. I can tell you, as you already know, there's a lot of pressure that that instructors are feeling. It may be due to publication, family issues right now. They're grant raising. There's committees they have to report to. There's all kinds of things. So they may be, letting go of their class. And if you step up and ask them, hey, or explain something, like that, ended up, basically, undermining you as a GSI, let them know. It's really helpful. And you'll feel better and they'll feel better. And I think if you also say it as, don't say it like they did something terrible on purpose, which they probably almost never do, but just, hey, I just want to bring to your attention that this could have been handled better. And, just going forward constructively, okay? You're doing them a favor. And I promise you, they're not gonna, I can't imagine anybody being angry or, anything like that. They're not. People are really, I found, very responsive when you point out something that they just didn't realize. Okay.
Okay, I see.
And it's also super helpful to do that sooner rather than later, because if you do it at the very end of the semester, that's when it's almost too late, and that's when they will be frustrated because then there's nothing they can do. So right when it happens, let them know. And
okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Any other observations that you want to share with us, everyone?
I have an issue.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's
Preston.
with respect to your Zoom question. I'm having trouble staying focused in one class and awake in another. And I don't know what the issue is, nor how to solve it. I mean, I sleep well, I'm heavily caffeinated. So I'm not, is it just them not lecturing well and not being engaging and just regurgitating information and not taking a breather? Or how do I go about maintaining focus on Zoom, which I think we call Zoom fatigue now? How do I combat that?
Yeah, good
classes for 9 hours back to back on a Wednesday, for example.
Yeah.
And we also can't assume that they're recording, because half the time they forget, don't know what they're doing. I see somebody laughing. I see a couple of people laughing. They don't know really what they're doing. They don't know how technology works. So they'll be missing, audio. It'll be cut out, choppy. Maybe you won't even see this, see the slides that they're talking about.
Really?
So you really got to be in the lecture when it's happening. This synchronous kind of model now. So I'm having trouble.
So, okay, I'm really interested to hear that statement, Preston, because so in the class I'm teaching, and Chris actually knows that because he's the GSI for my class, and he's been doing a fantastic job of posting the video. But here's one thing I do, as I say, as I do in this class, right? You get a bonus point if you help remind me to turn the video on, so that helps. The other is, I think there are resources for people to, for the professor to get that, to get those videos posted, and everybody should be figuring that out by now. So I'm surprised that you really feel you have to be there during the lecture time. My class, I'm surprised. I think it's less than half, far less than half of students are attending live. And I used to be bothered by that, but now I'm okay with it. Whatever works for them. And so to your point about staying focused, I mean, I think when you have all those classes bunched up on one day like that, that's hard, I know. And so I would try and see if at least one or two of those classes could be recorded in such a way that you could watch it later, so it doesn't all happen the same day. Because that really helps. And